Hello everyone, my name is Dinat, and today my friend and I are going to present the topic which is bidding goodbye to paper currency. Is cryptocurrency the future of money? My friends are Abhay, Aline, Azar, Oscar, and all of us are studying at University of Canada West. Next please. The content that we are going to talk about them are background information, which I'll explain it for you, and then my friend Azar introduce some graphs and discuss about them. After that, Abhay consider our research question and its answer. In the next part, Oscar and Aline give you conclusion, summary, and takes away points. And at the end of our presentation, we answer all of your questions. Next, please. At this moment, I want to mention this question and talk about that. Do you know about the risks and benefits associated with holding Bitcoins? For answering this question, you should know some information about virtual currency. As Abushi mentioned, virtual currency is a type of uncontrolled digital currency, such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, and more than 50 other names. These days, Bitcoin is known as a popular cryptocurrency worldwide. It gained much attention when its price increased about 64% of the whole world on 2090, with more than 7.1 million users. It works as an open source software, and it was invented in 2008, and also it's started to work in 2009. Bitcoin uses peer-to-peer technology to run with no administrator or central bank, which means that managing all activities is carried out collectively by the system. At the end, I should mention that its design is for the public and nobody owns or controls Bitcoin, and everyone can take a part. Next, please. At this moment, I want to talk about reasons of Genesis. It has been designed to change the current financial system and eliminate finance intermediaries. Bitcoin has some characteristics that money and other traditional currencies like gold don't have. These features are the reasons for its power to affect the global economy. Nowadays, Bitcoin has become a real investment chance for all peoples. And I should mention that Bitcoin creates more efficient payment method than any previous method. Next, please. Bitcoin's features. Here are some Bitcoin unique properties that could boost economy growth and make it more efficient. Storage is the first pros of Bitcoin. The only shape of Bitcoin is a digital format, which means there is no physical form like cash. It's stored only in a digital wallet, and this digital wallet can quickly be restored from different devices which people usually use, such as new phones, tablets, and other devices. Next, please. The next one is about its high security. As Bitcoin is a digital currency, it was designed to eliminate the possibility of cheating by making it a real-time transaction process. It doesn't involve intermediaries, so owners have full authority to manage and control their assets. Next, please. The third advantage is portable. Unlike other traditional currencies, Bitcoin is easily carried as long as owners have an access to their devices or their digital wallets. They can transact quickly. Next, please. Moreover, anonymity is the fourth property of Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't need to be connected to any extra personal data because it's stored in digital wallet. It's the the contrast of with universal banks that know all private plans and purposes about their customers. Next, please. Finally, virtual currencies method of payments are unique. As mentioned before, Bitcoin is set out to be a new type of money, so it makes fast peer-to-peer transactions, worldwide payments, and also low processing fees. These are some reasons why many firms in various industries trust Bitcoin as their legal form of funds. Now my friends Azar continue and introduce some graphs for you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Zinat. Hello, everyone. My name is Azar, and this section of our presentation will explain some graphs about statistic and familiarity and perception of Bitcoin among different range of people and about Bitcoin daily volume during the time. After that, I will give you a general overview that why Bitcoin popularity is on the rise. As we can see, these two graphs are about familiarity and perception of people between fall 2017 to fall 2020. In the first graph, we observe moderate growth in terms of the general population familiarity with Bitcoin. The percentage of people who are at least somewhat familiar with Bitcoin rose from 30% in fall 2017 to 45% in fall 2020. The age skew in 2020 is pronounced with 60% of those age are between 18 to 34, describing themselves somewhat familiar with Bitcoin, compared to just 24% of those age are over 65. The second graph shows that the percentage of people who strongly or somewhat agree that Bitcoin is a positive innovation in financial technology also rose 11 percentage points from 34% in fall 2017 to 45% in fall 2020. A younger demographic remain most inclined to have a positive view of Bitcoin. 60% of those age are between 18 to 34. They up 12 percentage points from fall 2017. And 58% of those age are between 35 to 45, strongly or somewhat agree that Bitcoin is a positive innovation in financial technology. Next, please. This graph depicts Bitcoin daily trading volume between 2014 to 2020. The daily volume of Bitcoin was under $100 million per day in 2014, and sometimes it fell below $10 million. By early 2018, that number had grown to over $20 billion. Between July 2018 to February 2019, volume often fell below 5 billion per day. However, Bitcoin daily volume routinely exceeded $20 billion again by early 2020. So, as we can see, Bitcoin have seen significant growth in the last 5 years. Next, please. Now I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin popularity is on the rise. Here are 4 reasons why Bitcoin popularity is rising. The first one is institutional adaptation. Cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, are now being considered as a safe haven asset against market inflation. The current economic climate also brings about a situation for people to hold less cash and stay hedged against market swing. Recently, there has been a trend where public companies are converting their cash treasury into the cryptocurrencies. Um, The second one is PayPal and cryptocurrency. In October 2020, the global digital payments company PayPal announced that it would be launching cryptocurrency buying and selling future on its platform. The launch includes four majority cryptocurrency, namely Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And PayPal has also announced plans for allowing transactions to be made using cryptocurrency. PayPal is known to have a 350 million user who will now be capable to adopting crypto as a payment means. The third one is accept from the government. As several private investors seek to adopt the cryptocurrency as a mean of exchange, many governments are also trying to regulate the market. Many countries like Germany, USA, Japan have taken a positive stance toward the cryptocurrencies. And the last one is easy accessibility to the public. Bitcoin is a digital currency that can be used as a store of value and a mode of exchange. While it has just started to gain attention as a legit payment method, it has established itself as a new asset over the past decades. Even if the public is unwilling to use it for transaction, many wants to convert their cash into Bitcoin because they believe that it's a better to a store of value and hedge against inflation. And Bitcoin is becoming more accessible to the public and retail investor. Thank you for your attention. And now my groupmate Abhay will continue.
Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Abhay Chahal, and today I'm going to talk about how is Bitcoin fundamentally transforming the discourse of financial transactions in the contemporary world. Next, next, please. When we talk about cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, our minds automatically compare them with the paper currency that is also known as fiat currency. My purpose is to highlight how Bitcoin is changing the very fabric of currency and financial transactions. I would like to begin with how Bitcoin has changed the norms of currency. Firstly, Bitcoin is entirely decentralized. In layman's words, there is no central authority like government or banks that prints money, taxes the money, puts different fees on transactions, sets regulations, and so on. As there are a limited number of Bitcoins, only 21 million all around the world, its value is not and will not be affected by inflation. Hence, the value of Bitcoin is only going to increase with time. It would be correct to state that Bitcoin is solely of the people and by the people. Next, please. Moving on to the lack of a third party in the transactions, unlike banks, this has enabled increased transparency and accountability in the transactions. People have a thorough idea of where they are investing their money. These transactions are also super fast, as somewhere and someone who owns Bitcoin can transfer it to someone else in any corner of the world at just a click of one button. Whereas you have to go a lot of formalities with banks to transfer some amount of an individual to a different country, and that additionally incurs heavy fees and taxes. People are coming closer together at a tap of a button. Next, please. This leads me to the point that factors have caused people to trust Bitcoin over banks. So, understandably, there is growing acceptability amongst people for Bitcoin. But what about the drawbacks, you ask? Let me now turn to the issue of sovereignty that stems from Bitcoin due to its absence of central authority. It has made the idea of sovereignty a blurred subject. The hold of a state over its currency is a crucial part of the sovereignty that a nation state executes. The decentralized nature of a Bitcoin has dispersed this particular hold of the state. Next, please. Uh, Bitcoins also pose a threat to the state's established regulatory authority in the domain of transactions as it transcends the national boundaries, and the transactions are not localized and traceable, and due to its centralized nature, it falls outside the jurisdiction of the state's sovereign authority and monarchy regulations. What happens when there is a crime such as one where there is a possible funding of illegal activities through bitcoins? Of course, you could go to the police, but whose jurisdiction would it fall to be? Bitcoins also provide a while of anonymity to the users, so they could be used for malicious purposes. As we discussed earlier, these transactions are also not traceable. So it is imperative to reflect on the questions like these. Next, please. Uh, in the discourse of financial transactions, Bitcoin can be seen as a revolutionary force that changes the very essence of the how transactions are done and making the world a freer place and curbing the state's power on surveillance and the domain of currency and transaction, thereby paving the way for a new financial system. Next, please. I trust you gained an insight into how Bitcoin is fundamentally transforming in the discourse of financial transactions in the contemporary world. Next, please. That brings me to the end of my part of our group presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more happy to answer them. Thank you for listening. Now, I'd like to hand over to my teammate, Oscar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Okay. At this moment, we have searched and we have reached the final of our research. At this moment, I would like to end with a phrase that my teammate has said in at the beginning of the research. Bitcoin has been designed to change the current financial system. At this moment, I would like to give us or let us with that phrase because effectively Bitcoin has been to change the way that we have used our financial system nowadays. To make a little of the summarize the things that we have learned at this moment of the research, I would like to start with the high security of the Bitcoins or the benefits that we could have regarding the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as overall. We as a Bitcoin, we could have at this moment the high security comparison with the current with the current currencies that we have on the market is the high security option. We will be able to make more. We will be able, I'm sorry, to have more security of our currencies with the security of the web in this case, of the blockchains in this case. How it will be possible that cryptocurrency in nowadays that is managed all the time in the system on the website, it could be more secure than the money that we have on the wallet that we have also this moment in our pants or in the purse that we could have. And let me explain you why. At this moment, the Bitcoin or all other cryptocurrencies, they are more secure in the website or in the platform that most of the time are the trading options that we could trade our Bitcoins with other platforms. It is because every movement that we could have or that we could move or we could do in with our Bitcoins has been recorded in every blockchain of the computer. For example, if I made one transaction at this moment with a Bitcoin that is in my power, the transaction is recorded in my computer, but as well is recorded in all the computers that that Bitcoin specifically has been entered in the system. So it wouldn't be possible that it could be my computer could be hacked or someone could steal my Bitcoin. But at the moment that Bitcoin could be stolen, everybody could know that that Bitcoin belongs to me. So at the moment that other person would like to use that Bitcoin, it wouldn't be possible because the Bitcoin does not match with the information that the person is trying to use that Bitcoin in order to buy something. So the transaction will be denied, will be declined, because the system will interpret that that person does not belong with that Bitcoin, with that serial number. So that's the reason why Bitcoin is more secure in comparison to the current currency that we have at this moment with us. In comparison, for example, with the dollar or the euros or other paper currency that we could have, for example, or even golds or silvers or bonds in this case, that we could find some dollars in the street, or we could find a wallet lost in the street, and we could find money in there. We could use that money to buy something, to buy coffee, to buy something, or whichever we want. And no one could know that we found that wallet in the street, or we found that dollar in the street. In comparison to the Bitcoin, it wouldn't be possible that I could make a transaction with a Bitcoin that I stole from a hack without knowing other person that that Bitcoin doesn't belong to me. This belongs to other person because other register all that. If you would like to make transactions with Bitcoin, at the moment that you make those transactions, you are letting others to have powers of the Bitcoin of you, and you wouldn't belong to have the owner of that Bitcoin that you are training on. That is a very good. This is, I think, the most value or the most benefit things that we could have regarding Bitcoins. And the other thing will be the storage. The storage. You know that most of the time and nowadays, countries must have like banks, central banks, or federal institutions to keep a large amount of papers, in this case papers, to means dollars, euros, or the currency that is in that country in order to regulate that as well. Or we need to be other places like tellers or banks, commercial banks, in order to make transactions with the currency that we have. In comparison to the Bitcoin, it is not necessary to have a physical place to make transactions with Bitcoin. The only thing that you will need to do is on a smartphone in or a smartwatch or a computer. In the computer, you will need to have on both three devices your e-wallet. Into your e-wallet, you will be able to have your money wherever in whichever place that you could go in whichever country as well that could have access to the internet. With that, you have the storage, and you wouldn't be able to change. For example, if I am in a country that the Bitcoin is not the local currency, I wouldn't be able to go to a exchange rate company to change my Bitcoin to that because Bitcoin is a general and is a universal currency that most of the time and nowadays there has been increased the popularity and they increase as well the acceptance of merchants and vendors as well. That's the reason why the storage is another benefit that we could have. The third one is portability. The Bitcoin is too portable. As I mentioned before, we could be in another place or we could be in other countries where we could have the options to use our Bitcoins to buy something or to buy food or to buy any other type of things that we would like to buy. The major example that we could have at this moment nowadays is that one of the most valued companies in the world at this moment is Tesla. Tesla has, and this week has just announced that they are going to receive bitcoins in order to accept purchases of the car. So, this moment I would like to buy a car by Tesla, and I have the sufficient, the enough money to, or the enough amount of bitcoins to buy the Tesla, it will be possible. I wouldn't be needed to make that Bitcoin change to dollars and then buy the car. I could only with my wallet, my e-wallet in this case, approach to the website of the of Tesla or going to the physical store and buy the car that I want using my bitcoins. And this is a very awesome notice and awesome news as well because that's an indicator that most of the time at this moment Bitcoin has increased their popularity and has eliminated all doubts that the market could have regarding the Bitcoins. At this moment, that's the main points that we could have about our research and about our research that we have had at this moment. I would like at this moment to conclude my conclusion with with these comments and regarding what we could have learned in this research. As well, I would like to enter to Alain. Alain will be talking about a little bit summary of what we have been talking in our research in order that you could have a major closing of our research. Thank you very much. If you have a question, if you have a comment about our research, we'll be more than happy to answer those questions as well at the end of this presentation. At this moment, I'm going to let you with my teammate, that is Ali. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oscar. Hi, everyone. My name is Aline, and that brings me to the end of our presentation. Let me give you a summary of what my group has talked about in the last slides. Firstly, we introduced the Bitcoin cryptocurrency as our group choice, and as I said, the most popular decentralized virtual currency now. Then, it was mentioned that it was created in 2008, but only launched in 2009. Besides, it uses a peer-to-peer technology that works systemically without the help of anyone to control or create. Next, it discusses how Bitcoin came with the proposed change to the financial world, as we know, affect all global economies without being a touchable currency, but is starting to be as valuable as any other. Become every year more acceptable and efficient as a payment method for many products, and also being one of the most growing investment opportunities. After that, it talks about how easy to use and not requiring any of your personal data to make transfers or payments totally online. We showed on the graphics how Bitcoins become not only known worldwide, but the millennials are starting to trust more on Bitcoin than in banks. Moreover, we demonstrated how Bitcoin is earning value during the past years until today, showing how trustable it is become over these times. Finally, after all the presentation, we believe that now you know more about the most valuable cryptocurrency at the moment, what it is, and how it can change the financial world in a few years. Thank you for listening to me. Now Oscar will finish our presentation with the takeaway points.
Thank you very much, Aline. And well, as finishing our presentation, in this area, we would like to talk about our takeaway points that we had in our presentations. Firstly, is the Bitcoin history. The beginning of the presentation, it was talk about the history of the Bitcoin, how it was created, and when it was created as well. Secondly, how Bitcoin works, the security, portability, storage, and trade options nowadays. Thirdly, the research question that we had in Abe had on how is Bitcoin fundamentally transforming the discovery of financial transactions in the contemporary world. I think that this moment we have covered the information about how Bitcoin has become at this moment important or has been increased the popularity in the market and has eliminated all the doubts regarding in the economic sector that they've said Bitcoin it is an economic bubble. I think at this moment that Bitcoin is not an economic bubble, and we could see that in our daily transaction history. And companies like Tesla, Apple, and Google, that they are more nowadays accepting Bitcoins as trading options as well. in compliance to the current currencies in this moment. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your moment to hear us in all this presentation. At this moment is the time that if you have some comments, if you have some questions about our presentation, about our research as well, we could ask this question, and we are going to be more than happy to answer those questions or clarify any doubts that you could have as well. I would like to give you the references pages that we have regarding our presentation and our research. This is a reference, and at this moment, thank you very much. One more time, it was a pleasure to give you this presentation. Thank you.